Sauropods. And then you have the class Symphyla or the Symphyla, small, about 2 to 10 millimeters. With long antennae, they are centipede-like, 10 to 12 pairs of legs, live in soil and leaf molds. Example are your symphylans. Then we have the subphylum Crustacea, which will later be more discussed. They are mostly aquatic, head with 2 pairs of antennae, 1 pair of mandibles, and 2 pairs of maxillae. Bare ramus appendages is present. Then lastly, the subphylum Hexapoda. Body is divided into the head, thorax, and abdomen. There are 5 pairs of head appendages, 3 pairs of uniramus appendages on the thorax. They include insects and its relatives. This one is the Cerusus ingrisus, or under the Trilobitomorpha. And then we have an example of the horseshoe crab, Limulus polyphemus, which is commonly harvested in the islands of Palawan. Then we have the spiders and scorpions. The sea spider right here. The millipede, that we can see that there are 2 legs per appendage. This one is 1 appendage and then 2 legs. Contrast to the centipede, which is 1 appendage and 1 leg, or 1 pair per appendage. Then we have the Pauropod, which is commonly terrestrial, and then the Symphylans, which may be terrestrial, and then we have crustaceans, or the seafoods that we eat, and then the insects under Hexapoda. Now we go discussing about a specific subphylum under phylum Arthropoda. The first one is subphylum Crustacea, which would include class Remipedia. They are cave-dwelling crustaceans from the Caribbean Basin, Indian Ocean, Canary Island, and Australia. Body with approximately 30 segments that bear uniform biraminous appendages. Then we have class Cephalocarida. They are marine crustaceans with uniform leaf-like and triramous appendages. Then we have class Branchiopoda, flattened leaf-like appendages used in respiration, filter feeding, and locomotion, found mostly in freshwater. Examples are fairy shrimps, brine shrimp, clam shrimp, and wattle fleas. Next, you have the class Malacostraca. Appendages is possibly modified for crawling, feeding, swimming. Example are your lobsters, crayfish, crabs, shrimps, creels, and isopods. Then we have the class Maxillopoda. There are 5 head, 6 thoracic, and 4 abdominal somites, plus a talson. Thoracic segment variously fused with the head. Abdominal segments lack typical appendages. Example are your barnacles and copepods. Then we have the subphylum Hexapoda, which means 6 foot. Body is divided into the head, thorax, and the abdomen. There are 5 pairs of head appendages, 3 pairs of uniramus appendage on the thorax. Insects and their relatives are included under this subphylum. Now let us talk about class Ethynota. The mouth appendages hidden within the head, mandibles with single articulation, the legs with 1 undivided tarsus. There are 3 orders under this one, which I won't be requiring you to memorize. The order Colambula, order Protura, order Diplura. Order Colambula would include springtails, order Protura, the Proturans, and then Diplura, the Diplurans, as an example. Then we have the class Insecta. Under this are subclass Archaeognatha, which includes order Archaeognatha, a small wingless cylindrical and scaly body, the mandibles with single articulation, abdomen with 11 segmented with 3 to 8 pairs of styli, and 3 caudal filaments. Example are your jumping bristletales. Then we have the subclass Sagantoma. The order under this one is the order Tisanura. Tapering abdomen, flattened scales on body, terminal cerci, long antennae. Example is the silverfish. Then we have the subclass Pterogota. Wings on second and third thoracic segment. Wings may be modified or lost. No progenital abdominal appendage. Direct sperm transfer is happening. Then we have the infraclass Paleoptera. Wings incapable of being folded at rest, held vertically above the body or horizontally from the body. Wings that may have veins and cross veins. Antennae is reduced or vestigial in adults. Example are your order Ephemeroptera that include mayflies and order Odonata that includes your dragonflies and damselflies. Then we have some other infraclass for these insects. We have order Plecoptera, order Mantodea, order Plataria, order Isoptera, order Dermaptera, order Otoptera, order Phasmida, order Pteroptera, order Hemiptera, order Tesonoptera, order Neuroptera, which would include some other insects. Others would be order Neuroptera, the lacewing, snakeflies, antlions, and dobsonflies. Order Coleoptera, which are the beetles. Order Trichoptera, the Chiadis flies. Order Lepidoptera, the moths and butterflies. So just take note of the order Lepidoptera. And then the order Diptera, the flies. Just include that in your notes. And then you have order Cyphinoptera. We have the fleas. Then the high order Hymenoptera, the ants, the bees, and the wasp. Include the latter four, from Lepidoptera to Hymenoptera. Now, let us talk about the function of the insect pheromones. The first one is a sex pheromone. This excites or attracts members of the opposite sex, accelerating or retarding sexual maturation. Example is when female moths produce and release pheromones that would attract the males. Then, we have the caste-regulating pheromones, used by social insects to control the development of individuals in a colony. Example is the amount of royal jelly fed to a female bee larvae, determining whether the larva will become a worker or a queen bee. Then, we have the aggregation pheromones, produced to attract individuals to feeding or mating sites. Example is when a certain bark beetle aggregate on pine trees during an attack on a tree. Then we have the alarm pheromones, released to warn other individuals of danger, may cause orientation toward the pheromone source and elicit subsequent attack or flight from the source. Example is a sting from one bee alarms the other bees in the area who are likely to attack you. Then we have the trailing pheromone, which is commonly used by ants, laying down by foraging insects to help other members of a colony identify the location and quantity of food found by one member of the colony. Ants would often leave a trail of a pheromone path and to and fro the food source. The pheromone trail is reinforced each time an ant travels over it. Now, we have the different metamorphosis forms. First one is the holometabolous, or the whole metamorphosis development of the housefly Musca domestica, or under the order Diptera. The egg hatches into a larva that is different in form and habitat from the adult. After a certain number of larval instars, the insect pupates. During the pupal stage, all adult characteristics form and varies from its egg. Then, we have the hemimetabolous, which is half or quarter of a metamorphosis development of the chinch bug, the Blissus leucopterus, under the order Hemiptera. Eggs hatch into nymphs. Note that the gradual increase in nymph size and the development of external wing pads. In the adult stage, the wings are fully developed and the insect is sexually mature. Other than that, we have the ametabolous, which do not undergo any changes from larval up to its adult stage. Now, let us know the caste system or the hierarchy among honeybees under order Hymenoptera. Honeybees have a social organization consisting of three castes. The eye size and the overall body size distinguishes the castes. The left bee is called a worker bee, which has a little to none of the eye size and the overall body size. The second one, The middle one is a drone bee. And lastly, the one on the right is a queen bee marked with a blue to identify her. The inner surface of metathoracic leg have setae called the pollen comb that gets pollen or the honey from the flower that removes pollen from the mesothoracic legs and the abdomen. Pollen is then compressed into a solid mass by being squeezed in a pollen press and moved to a pollen basket on the outer surface of the leg, where the pollen is carried. The mesothoracic legs gather the pollen from body parts. The thoracic legs of a worker bee clean pollen from the antennae and the body. To sum up, we've seen how animals progress from simple cell clusters in sponges to complex segmented forms in arthropods. Each phylum represents an important evolutionary step, adding new structures and systems that allow animals to survive in diverse environment. Understanding this environment helps us appreciate the diversity of life and the evolutionary connection among organisms.